Okay, so I watched Resident Evil Afterlife the other day, which is the fourth one. I have never seen it before. And it was almost like the writer of the story just thought, I just played Resident Evil 5 and I'm going to put every single thing that's in that into this film. And as much as I love bad films, this was terrible. Oh, it was so bad. It was, oh. Well, spoiler alert, I'm just going to go for it. So, at the beginning, it's meant to be in Tokyo, and the Umbrella Corporation base with Wesker in it. And Alice and her gajillion clones go and take it over, and it's just, there's so many slow-mo action bits that don't need to be there. And then Alice gets injected by a Wesker, which takes away all her powers, and all their clones die. It was the most pointless 5 to maybe 10 minute intro to a film that I think I've ever seen. Also the fact that if it's meant to be a secret corporation, how the fuck did they even build it under the ground? Anyone wants that? No, because no one knows. And then, what else? There was another thing. Also, right, so at the end of the third one, Extinction, whatever it's called, it was meant to be that the world was a desert and that everyone was dead, apart from the undead, and a few survivors. So it's suddenly alright, the world's suddenly no longer a desert in this film, and it's like Umbrella's still making weapons. Who are they making weapons for? Am I just the person who thinks that? What it's like, it's just stupid. Why would you carry on making weapons and researching weapons if there's no one to sell them to? I mean, in the games, you can get away with it. 1, because it's a game and you can get away with it. 2, because they don't have it as the whole world being destroyed. But in the film, they decided to do that. And it just doesn't make any sense. So, that whole beginning bit was a load of shit. Then it's meant to be Alice without powers flying around, because obviously she's got to find tons of engine fuel for a plane. And she managed to get in a plane across the Pacific Ocean. I'd never actually thought about that at first, but she was in Japan, and she had to find a plane and enough engine fuel to get across the whole Pacific Ocean to go back to America. Because obviously though, she's just such a badass, even though she's human. Anyway, so she has this plane, and she finds Claire Redfield, who she left at the end of the last film, and they try to find this Arcadia or someplace that's meant to be paradise, and it's not there. And Claire has one of those freaky chest things that are in Resident Evil 5. That's controlling her mind. So she gets her. She's forgotten everything. They go to LA. They land on this building and they almost fall off, but they don't. And then they go around this prison, and there's a ridiculous amount of torches. I mean, the prison's surrounded, and they just light torches everywhere. It's like, you know what, let's just light some... I'm like, you could use that fuel for something else, or use it in a different situation. It's just so annoying. It's just so annoying, little things. And then, so they're hanging about in here, and there's some boring conversations about boringness I kind of wasn't listening to. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of these people who has to have action every 5 seconds, but if you're gonna thick out the story, at least make it interesting, because otherwise it's just a load of crap. Like it was. And suddenly these zombies start digging through the woodwork, and they're bursting out the ground. I'm like, since when did zombies be able to have enough power to dig? And suddenly they have those things coming out their mouths, like in Resident Evil 5, which annoyed me because in the games it made sense, kind of, that they were Las Plagas, so they were a parasite, so the person was still fully functioning. In fact, they were slightly enhanced by the parasite, but they were still doing it in reference to a virus, and a virus won't do that. The virus just makes them a mindless drone, and it doesn't enhance them. And I don't care if you're going to say to me that, it's because the T-virus is so amazingly amazing. It still made no sense. It was shit. Then they find Chris Redfield. You know, sorry, I had to do Chris because in the games, Sheffield was like, Chris! Chris! All the time. Anyway, so they find him in the downstairs bit, and he says, oh, I can get us out of here with this amazing vehicle. And as they go to get the vehicle, suddenly, oh, look, there's an executioner! Oh, guess what that's of? Resident Evil 5. So, they get that, and then the executioner comes through, and there's some like idiot who's in this thing, and he gets a plane and he flies it off himself, and he flies it to the ship. That is Arcadia, and I missed that bit out because it made no sense. There's a ship that's meant to be Arcadia. So the rest of the guys decide in the thing, we're like, well, we have no way out. There's hundreds of millions of zombies and stuff. Oh, I missed out another really pointless bit, which is when they get the plane, she's on the roof where the plane is, and suddenly all the zombies burst through, and they're like, rah, rah, rah. And she, with no powers, sets off a bomb, and then it blows up the whole top floor. It's alright because she swings on a wire, and I'm like, hang on, this wire's attached to the ceiling that's just blown up. What is the wire attached to? Is it thin air? Oh, I forgot I could swing off thin air. Huh. Oh, it's just so annoying. And she's like, falls like, it must be like 30 feet, 30 stories. I don't know, it's ridiculously high. And then she just lands on the ground, it's like, completely fine. I'm like, you're not meant to have powers. It's meant to be like, if I swung off that much and I would die, I'd probably just let go. Because I can't, no upper body strength. So, there's all that. And then, it's just gets more and more stupid. Anyway, they go underground through the holes that the zombies made. And the guy who Alice liked, like some kind of, I don't know, basketball player, he gets got, and she's like, no! So her and Chris and Claire go to this ship. They get there somehow on a boat or something. It's like a giant tanker. Just like Resident Evil 5! So they go on the tanker, and they faff about in there, and it turns out that it wasn't actually a safe haven, it was Wesker's big ship that he's been using to test people. So they do that, they have a big battle with Wesker. The only bit that I found quite amusing in this film, the only bit in the whole thing, is that there's like a little scene when they're fighting Wesker, and it's meant to be Claire and Chris are fighting Wesker in this scene. And the only bit that I found amusing because I'm a nerd is because they did the exact same cutscene. Like, there's like a bit in it where the fighting scene is the exact same as in the game. And I kind of find that funny because, I don't know, I just kind of like, that kind of amused me that it was exactly, every single move was the same, everything about it was the same. And that was quite amusing. Other than that, it was shit. There's a really bad bit where Wesker escapes after they've shot him about 70 times. I mean, I know in the games, I keep making reference to them, Wesker's like, he never dies, but it was even this stupid. He had his head blown off, and he had like 1 million bullet holes in them that Chris and Claire kept shooting at him, even though he was apparently dead. So they do that, and he gets off on his plane, and he sets off this button that's meant to purge the boat, just like in the beginning, and Alice is like, oh my god, we got to get to the top. I'm like, well, that ain't gonna save you. You know, you blew up Tokyo last time. So they went upstairs, and then you find out that the bomb is on his plane, and it boom, blows up in the sky. And then it cuts back to them three, and she's like, I didn't want you to miss that. As if it was some kind of freaking firework. I'm just like, why? Oh god, who wrote the script? Oh. And then they stood there on the boat, and then there's like, suddenly there's like 70 umbrella ships flying through the air. Well, not ships, planes. And I'm like, why are they so bothered about 3 people on a boat? Seriously? Oh, so there's like something, and it's like, what's coming? Trouble. Oh, who wrote this? Honestly, it was so bad. Oh. And And then you find out that the basketball player wasn't dead. He was in a storm sewer. Because, he was just hanging about in a storm sewer. But it didn't even make reference to him later on. Oh, and then that was it. The film was finished. It was so bad. Oh, oh yeah, and also it was Jill, whatever her name is, on Resident Evil 5, the girl who's meant to be Chris's partner, who had the thing on her chest. She's there with the thing on her chest, going, "Oh my God, we've got to get Project Alice." But why? She doesn't have the T-virus in her anymore. And if she was immune, if that's the thing, that she's immune or she can bond with the T-virus, why doesn't she just let a zombie bite her, give her the T-virus again, and her body will accept it again, in theory. But, I'm not going to question it, because it was such a shit film. So, my rating of it was, like, a 1. No, maybe a 2 out of 10. I'm only putting it there because I've seen worse films. It was pretty dire, but I've seen worse. That's the only thing that's keeping it up. So, that's it from me, guys.